So many people have been asking for this video, just tips or advice that I can offer to anyone who's trying to lose weight. And I'm glad to finally be able to make it. What I'm going to offer you are just some things that have worked for me over the last year and a half, that I have been losing weight. They may not work for you. I wouldn't expect them to, automatically work for you. I always believe that whatever a person does to lose weight, they've tweaked it to where it's almost just a system that they can just rely on automatically. And it's their system. It's not something that's going to be completely beneficial to someone else just because it works for them. So keep that in mind. My first tip is to know why you are losing weight. For me, losing weight, and I had tried so many times before I finally got a handle on what it took to succeed. But for me, losing weight was about being healthy. Being healthy in the long term, not just being able to run a mile nonstop. Being healthy 20 years from now, being healthy 40 years from now. What kind of life do I want to lead between now and then, if I'm so fortunate to be able to live that long? What kind of life do I want from day to day? Do I really want to be huffing and puffing when I get to the top of a flight of stairs? I know that's a kind of a easy example to pull, but really think about that. Think about that. Nobody should be out of breath after, unless they have some kind of illness or disorder, that's something that they can't help, where it's not attributed to obesity, which is 100% in your control. And when I realized that me being overweight was really just accumulation, for lack of a better word, of the choices that I had made up to that point, and the consequences of those choices manifested itself in the way that my body looked and the way that my body felt. When I realized that, I knew why I wanted to take it off. You have to have a reason that's meaningful to you. It can't be, I do not believe, it can't be to fit into a certain dress size, because that's going to change. I don't care how healthy you are. Your body's just going to change, more than likely. It can't be to look good in a bikini every summer. It has to be, especially if you're losing a large amount of weight like I did, it has to be something that you can go to again and again and again as a source for motivation. Because your high school reunion is only going to come around every decade. That's not enough motivation for me. So my second tip is to make sure you're in control of what you're eating. To me, what that meant was knowing that whatever I ate, it was a choice of mine. It wasn't because I was tempted. Now, 100% of the time, that doesn't happen because I'm not perfect. Sometimes I do get tempted, but I try to make sure I'm less tempted today than I was yesterday. It's just being aware of your choices. You won't be able to eat fruits and vegetables every single day of the week for every meal. That's just not likely to happen. But you can make sure that whatever you're eating, if it's not healthy, make those portions smaller than you ordinarily would. That's being in control. Make sure you are accounting for your calories. What I do, I don't know if I would recommend this, but it works for me, is that if I have a big meal earlier in the day, or I have a lunch where I had something that I didn't really expect to have, like something that was in the break room at work or whatever, I'll make sure that later in the day, I eat very light. Unless I'm doing some kind of strenuous exercise and I need to fuel my body. And after that, I would eat something healthy so that I'm not just putting fat after exercise. But you just have to make choices that are going to demonstrate to yourself day in and day out that you are the one that's in control. You're not necessarily tempted by food like you were anymore. Food is really just something that keeps you alive. It's something that keeps you alive. Yeah, it tastes good sometimes, and you should enjoy yourself. But it's not something that has to be had a certain way. It just has to be had. So just be in control of your choices. My third tip is don't make exercise a chore. When exercise becomes a chore, what do? You quit. If anything is a chore, you quit. That's why people quit their jobs. Or they're unhappy with their jobs because they don't like their jobs because it's a chore. But if you make exercise something that you want to do, then it won't feel like exercise. I would recommend getting a hobby that, is physical exercise, but it doesn't feel like exercise when you do it. For me, it was tennis. Now, I did start playing tennis before I started losing weight. Not too long before I started losing weight, but I did. But when I started to lose weight and I just started noticing these improvements in my tennis game, I started to love tennis a lot more. And over the summer, I played 3 or 4, maybe 5 days a week sometimes. So, and I didn't mind it at all. That was just my hobby. Even though I might have played for an hour and a half or 2 hours, that was just my hobby. All right. I did my weight training that day, or I might have run 4 miles that day. And I played tennis. It didn't feel like exercise, so I really didn't count that, although it was probably the most strenuous exercise I did that day. So find something that you really, really, really like to do. Or maybe do some kind of exercise with a partner. Maybe it'll make that fun. Maybe it'll make walking or jogging fun for you. But it needs to be something you enjoy and not a chore. My fourth tip is going to be to make sure you have a plan. You have to have a plan, stick to your plan, and be able to alter that when necessary. And that alteration doesn't mean failure. That's not an excuse to quit. That just means you have to recalibrate your goals, okay, if that makes sense. For example, what is it? Almost September, so a full 8 months have gone by already. I can't believe it. In 2010, just about, almost 8 months. When I started this year, I was 220 pounds. I only lost in 2010 up to today about 27 pounds. Do you think I wanted to only have lost 27 pounds by August 22nd, 2010? No. I wanted to have lost at least 40 or so pounds. However, that's not going to stop me, man. I know that this is a lifelong journey. It is not a race to, New Year's Eve 2010, which is when I wanted to hit my goal weight of 145. That's not the whole point of it. The point is to live a healthy life from day to day, from week to week, month to month, and year to year. It doesn't really matter to me that I haven't hit each and every goal I set out in the beginning of the year, because as soon as I alter those goals and I go at them with as much dedication as I had in the beginning of the year, then I'm fine with that. You have to learn to just take responsibility for your choices. I made some choices that kind of set me back, and I live with it. You're going to have setbacks. I have a setback every year. It's called Thanksgiving. And I'm going to have a setback this November. But the thing is, you just have to stick with your main plan, which is to be healthy. And that's just really the bottom line. I don't know what else I could say on that. And then my last tip is to not expect miracles. Miracles are just not going to happen. Since you're in charge of your weight loss, you cannot go expecting to be some kind of miracle worker in your own life, because your body just doesn't work that way. You just have to make sure you're doing the things day in and day out that are going to get you to whatever goal you set for yourself. It might not even really be to lose weight. It might just be to tone up. It might be to run a mile nonstop. It might be whatever. You can't expect things to happen overnight. You have to put in effort. And when you put in that effort, you have to add that to the next day, to the next day, to the next day. And then over time, you're going to see changes. Over time, you're going to feel differently. You're going to feel better. It's not going to happen overnight. That is a cliche, but it is very true. If you didn't put the weight on overnight, you're just not going to take it off overnight. If you take it off quicker than the average bear, then you're going to put it back on too. So don't expect to have instant success. And even with that, if your success comes slowly, you get to savor it along the way. That's kind of the point. That's why so many of us call it a journey. You get to savor the little things, and those little things, they add to the foundation of just your blueprint for health. That probably made no sense, that sentence itself, but you get what I'm saying. It adds to your resolve. It adds to your resolve to keep making healthy choices. So I hope you guys can use something from that, even if it's just one thing. But that's what works for me. So if anybody's asking me for more tips, I'm going to point you to this video. So I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for subscribing. I've got like over 1,000 subscribers, and I never imagined I would have that many subscribers, but I really appreciate it. So bye, guys.